So we just arrived here at the fields and we're looking at an incredible mountain view here. We're really high up in the mountains of Shizuoka. You can see some tea fields behind me. You can even see the lake in the distance there. And there's just 360 degrees of beautiful views out here.
After a 1-hour drive through the forest, we were rewarded with this spectacular view of the mountain tea fields. The farmers explained to us that they actually only come here about once a month. They call this a wild tea field because they actually spend very little time tending to it. Rather than growing in perfect rows, you see the tea plants expanding to fill whatever space they prefer. You also notice wild grasses on the land and even different herbs such as Japanese shiso. This creates a rich diversity and also a habitat for insect life. You can hear a whole symphony of sounds in between the tea rows as the insects move around and loosen up the soil. This loose soil is not only important for the ecosystem, but also for the tea itself. When the soil is looser, the roots of the tea plant are able to penetrate deeper into the ground and absorb more nutrients from the earth. The farmers decided to use almost no fertilizer this year, and the tea crop turned out even better than the year before. They took this as a sign that this particular tea crop needed to be left alone. While they are hard at work in town at some of the other tea fields, this one takes care of itself. It's not just the insects that live up here, but larger animals as well. Here, 400 meters above sea level, far away from civilization, the farmers have reported seeing wild boar and sirop up in these mountain fields. Just like with the previous farm we saw, you could see evidence of these visitors in the soil. These little patches were worn away by wild boar, searching for worms and grubs in the earth. This is a good sign that the ecosystem here is thriving. The type of tea grown here is the Yamakai cultivar, known for its light and sweet taste. In Japan, there are dozens of different breeds of tea plants known as cultivars. These plants have been crossbred over the last century to produce a variety of distinct flavors. Some cultivars are more suitable for sweeter teas, and others are designed to be more astringent or bitter. Some cultivars are also better adapted to handle more harsh climates, like this mountain plantation here. In this case, the Yamakai is perfect to produce a light sweet sencha and does not mind the wild conditions of this particular area. Of course, we didn't have to take their word for it. We could try the tea ourselves. The farmers prepared us 9 different cups of teas to try. With so many options, we wanted to make sure we didn't miss out on anything.
So we're doing a tea tasting of 3 different senchas right now. We have the Yabukita, then we have the Shiso 7132 cultivar, and then we have the Yamakai. The Yamakai is the one that was growing up in the mountains. It's got a very nice smell to it. It's very nice amai or sweetness. And I'm getting a little bit of a fruitiness as well in here. Whereas with the Yabukita, I'm getting a little bit of a grassiness. The middle one here, the Shizu, I'm getting a nice freshness, a little bit of a dryness towards the end, but just a very bold flavor, bold and full-bodied. So here we have a green tea from the Inzatsu cultivar. Now this is a very bright yellow tea right here. Here's another one right here. Very unique color to it, very dark golden. With the Inzatsu, you're actually getting this very nice orchid perfume, as they called it. And so it's very floral, it's very light, very beautiful tea and extremely unique.
After browsing the tea and beautiful teaware of Nihon no San, we headed back on the road to Kyoto, the cultural heart of Japan.
Hey everybody, I'm in Hamamatsu right now. I'm about to head off to Kyoto. I've made some arrangements to do some filming there, and I'm really looking forward to getting a closer look at tea culture in Kyoto.
Slightly north of Kyoto is a temple up in the mountains known as Kozanji Temple. This is where the first tea plants were planted in Japan.
In 1191, a monk by the name Eisai brought tea seeds over from China and planted them in these sacred grounds. Just like that, Japanese green tea was born. But the monks weren't drinking the tea only for its taste. They found that it enhanced their meditation. The caffeine in the tea helped them stay awake and focused, while the L-theanine allowed them to maintain a calm and meditative mind. As a result, Japanese tea at this time was predominantly drunk inside the temples. That was really cool seeing Japan's first tea field by Kozanji Temple. Now, I'm going to be heading to Kyoto and doing some more tea hunting. Hey, so we're back in Kyoto right now, and we're heading off to Nishiki Market to see what kind of tea we can find there. Nishiki Market is a narrow shopping street of more than 100 shops and restaurants. Also known as Kyoto's Kitchen, this market supplies local vegetables, fruit, and seafood to the people of Kyoto. This market has been an important shopping district for Kyoto since 1310. Because of all the variety and excitement, Nishiki has also become a popular destination for tourists. Famous for all of its free samples, many Westerners come here to try foods they are not normally used to seeing. For me, it was an opportunity to see what kind of tea they had on offer. At this small tea shop, they sold all the basic types of Japanese green tea. There was gyokuro, karigane, sencha, and gemaicha. They also had some hojicha that was freshly roasted. The aroma of this freshly roasted hojicha carried throughout the air, drawing me into the tea shop. Nishiki Market also had another beverage I was interested in trying, kombucha. Unlike the kombucha in the US, Japanese kombucha is made from kelp, a distinction that stems from an error in translation many years ago. Although it is becoming less common, many people in Japan still purchase kelp at these markets to make a special type of tea. The kelp brings a natural saltiness and umami to the water, so the resulting drink tastes a lot like a broth. Although not technically a tea, many tout the health benefits of this unique beverage. So now we're going to head out to the Higashiyama district to check out another tea shop. The eastern and western parts of Kyoto are divided by the Kamo River that runs through the city. On the eastern side, you have the famous district of Gion, and northeast of there, you have the Higashiyama district. This area is famous for its temples, but before I went to visit them, I wanted to sit down for a nice tea tasting. At this little tea shop in Higashiyama, I was able to taste 3 very different green teas. The first tea I tried was a gyokuro. Gyokuro is considered to be the highest quality leaf tea in Japan and was once reserved for the emperor. The leaves have been shaded for over 20 days, and during this time the tea produces more chlorophyll, theanine, and caffeine. As a result, this tea becomes a very dark shade of green and develops a beautiful sweet umami flavor. The tea also creates a more powerful calm and alert feeling that green tea is famous for. To prepare this tea, you often use a lot of leaves and a very small amount of water. This concentrates the tea into an extremely small quantity, and the result is a dense liqueur that overwhelms the palate with this rich umami flavor. Next in the tasting was the sencha. Sencha is the most commonly consumed green tea in Japan and can take on a vast array of different flavors. Shaded senchas can take on a powerful sweet umami flavor going into the direction of a gyokuro, while unshaded senchas have more of a dryness and lingering astringency. The leaves of a sencha are steamed after being picked, which kills the enzymes responsible for the oxidation of tea. This is what keeps a green tea green and prevents it from turning into a black tea or an oolong. If the tea is steamed for a longer period of time, it becomes a fukumushi sencha, or deep steamed tea. These teas tend to have a rounder flavor with less astringency and brew a beautiful jade green color. Finally in the tasting, we have the hojicha. Hojicha is a roasted green tea that brings a whole new variety of flavors to the palate. While most green teas evoke flavors of fresh cut grass or vegetables, hojicha brings in elements of smoke, caramel, or even chocolate. This tea is either roasted by hand or in machines that turn the tea slowly and roast the leaves over time. This is a popular drink to enjoy hot in the fall and cool in the spring. When brewed cool, it brings out some of the more sweet and chocolatey flavors of the tea. After we were finished with the tasting, the tea master poured soy sauce over the leaves so that they could be eaten. It is common at tea houses to use soy sauce or vinegar on top of the leaves in order to turn them into a nice salad. After the tea tasting, I headed over to Ginkakuji, the famous silver pavilion. A lot of the palaces around Kyoto were designated as vacation homes for the shogun. It was here that the wealthy and powerful in early Japan came to escape the city and enjoy the peace of more natural surroundings. It is believed that in the 1400s, the shogun Yoshimasa built one of the first tea rooms inside this palace. Here, people would gather from far and wide to see his impressive collection of teaware and utensils. The study of Japanese tea history begins with the monks, who used tea to improve their concentration during meditation. Then the samurai began to take notice of the apparent improvement tea had on their cognitive ability and concentration in the battlefield. The upper classes in Japan saw tea as an opportunity to showcase their culture and class, with opulent tea houses such as this. In the next chapter, we will explore how tea evolved from here on out, from the discipline and humility of the tea ceremony to its universal acceptance by all people in Japan. The story of tea is certainly one worth telling.